Welcome back to Philosophy of the Barber. Welcome back, Cassie.
Hello, hello.
Time for a new week, new conversation topic. Today, we'll be discussing when to turn a client away. Let's start with a limited perspective on it. And you, as a new business owner who is trying to grow a clientele, at what point would you see yourself, in what situation would you see yourself actively turning away a client?
Honestly, especially since I am growing a business, if I have like dead set plans after work, like at the end of my day, if like someone's coming in like last minute or whatever, I'll definitely stay late. I'm trying to build my book. There's a certain point of staying late, of course. I feel like we all have to have some kind of boundary in place so we're not overworking ourselves. But like if I don't have plans and I'm just going home to hang out on my couch, then why not just stay and do another haircut? Like there's no point in turning somebody away. Might as well pull them in and have a chat, see what you can do. I feel like in other circumstances there could be, I'd hate to say that I'd turn someone away based on their behavior coming in the shop, but I feel like there would also be a limit. I've not yet come across anything like that in my endeavors of working in any shops or anything, but I feel like given the area, we do have a wide array of people and transients and stuff in the area, so not saying that they would cause problem, but I feel like if someone came in was like really rude or just not in a place to get a haircut, if someone came stumbling drunk into the shop and just like wouldn't be able to sit still in a haircut, like situations like that, I feel like I would also put my foot down and turn someone away if they were just completely off the wall, disrespectful, causing a ruckus kind of scenario. But hopefully I won't encounter such things, but I feel like you just never...
You will.
No, yeah, I was going to say, I feel like I might have heard a story or two once upon a time of some people that have had to have been kicked out of shops and such, so...
Yes, I've had my fair share of having to ask people to leave my establishments. For various reasons. Several of which you've listed. But also, it's in your current position, single chair business owner. Like the main thing you have to worry about at home, if they are at home, is your dog. There are plenty of people who have families, who have children. Like it's one of those, like, you have to prioritize things differently when there are more variables in your life like that.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's like, hey, if you want to make that little league game, sometimes you're going to have to turn them away.
Yep.
And there's also like certain instances where it's like, hey, just like timing issue, especially if you've never cut their hair before. Like if you have 20 minute gap between people, it's one thing if it's going to be an easy cut. Sure, I can rock that out in 20 minutes. But if you don't know their head, or if it's been months since their haircut, so it's like way overgrown, you don't know where they got cowlicks, what that whirl's going to do when it gets to a certain length, all those variables. Like, I am not going to put that person in the position of having to rush through them in order to get my appointment stuff on time. Because guess what? I'm not a doctor. People are not forgiving of me running late, and I'm not forgiving of myself running late.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. So I am not going to do that customer a disservice by rushing their first service in my chair.
I will say, ironically enough, I actually, majority of the time that I would squeeze people in between clients, like at the hold shop especially, it's always ends up being like, they're like, oh, can I come? They want to come in for a haircut. They sit in the chair. They're like, yeah, I want a skin fade. And I'm just like, oh, okay, this is going to be a little bit more time than I anticipated on. And I always ended up running late. So I actually stopped doing that or really I started doing more of a consultation on the phone before I start asking more questions, because I need to know better what I'm working with for that exact reason, because I also don't like running behind.
It's important for people to be able to, like, their time matters.
Yes.
So I get, like, hey, if you got a life situation where you can't, like, at this minute you just happen to have time to see if somebody can take you. All right, but you know you're rolling the dice. And if I can, I can. Great. Fantastic.
Yep.
If I can't, though, I can't. But I'm more than happy to try and work you into the schedule some other time when I have enough time to dedicate to you. Because at a certain point, it's like, I'm not offering you the service you deserve at the price point that I offer.
Yeah.
If I'm shortchanging you your time, because that's what you're paying for. You're paying for my time serving you. If I'm rocking out somebody in 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, I can do it if necessary. But, I had somebody this week who came in and he was like, I've got a meeting, like a corporate meeting in half an hour. And it's a haircut and a beard trim. Mm-hmm. I know his haircut, easy beard trim, not a problem.
Yep.
I was like, just don't talk to me very much.
Yeah.
And even with that, we still had a good conversation and I was still able to get it done in like 20 minutes, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I still have time. Great. But if you're a first timer, I just can't guarantee that.
Yeah, honestly.
And I care too much about other people's time. Mm-hmm. For whatever reason, I care way too much about other people's money.
Yeah.
Like I have way too much of a concern of putting myself in a position to where I could even be perceived as trying to take advantage of somebody.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely not. I refuse to put myself in that position.
Yeah. I agree. You're 100%. That's exactly what you're paying for is my time, and I take that very seriously.
Yep. That's why I charge chemical services based on time. I'm getting paid the same hourly rate, no matter what service I am offering. Mm-hmm. That way, I'm not incentivizing or disincentivizing myself to prefer doing some services over others.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just easier to do it across the board. You're paying, no matter what I'm doing, it's the time that matters.
Yep. I mean, unless there's something that you really don't like doing and you want to do like the wedding pricing where it's like, because I hate doing this, but I'm licensed for it, I'm just going to like price it an exorbitant amount of money. And hey, if you want to pay that, that is my price to do that thing that I don't like to do.
Yeah. If I was in the salon world, that would be pedicures.
Yes. Nails. Ew. That was the sticking point why I could not do cosmetology. It's like, absolutely not.
I managed to get out of most of my practicals
for
COVID pedicures. I also towards the end of my time there, because I had so much built up time during COVID, I kind of became like teacher's helper on the floor with a lot of girls, and I was done most of my counts, so they would just give me other counts. They'd be like, all right, what do you want marked off for helping today? And I'd be like, pedicures, just mark those off so I don't have to do those. I obviously had to do a couple for the practice of it and such, but not with any just random people off of it was all my classmates. I was not, because in the salon world, that would be a service that I would turn away. That would be a client that I would turn away. I'd be like, sorry, I'm not offering that today, sorry.
If you want to pay me $200,
yeah, oh, absolutely,
then of course,
yep, let's do it.
But a $35 pedicure? Nope. I'm actually kind of shocked at the pricing of some of those services, but that's neither here nor there. Back to the task at hand.
Yes.
Now, there's been a lot of discussion on the internet recently of, I'd say kind of an overgeneralization. Not that it's not true in some cases, but I fear that the generalization kind of leads to putting yourself in the position of going, kids today don't have any work ethic. Of barbers who are sitting around waiting for their next appointment and probably have an hour but are turning away walk-ins. Now, in that particular scenario, sure, I think that's a detriment to them.
Yes.
And the question would be do you want to cut hair? And that's a fair question to ask in that scenario.
Honestly, maybe sometimes you're just not in the headspace. I have to take that into consideration, because if there have been some days where I love my job, don't get me wrong. I've never felt like I'm going to work when I get up and come to work every day. It's just not that kind of feeling. And I know eventually I'll probably hit a burnout, I know everybody does, and I'll go through my phase. But in the meantime, I still love it. But where I've kind of been looking forward to those, if I've got a couple big gaps in my day, I almost kind of look forward to those moments. Now, granted, when push comes to shove and a client does come in, I put money and mind over matter, and I do what I need to do. But in the back of my mind, I'm just darn it, I really kind of wanted to just chill by myself right now and not have to work through another conversation, because sometimes you're just not
sometimes that's the work.
Yeah.
Like the haircut's easy, but like,
yeah, sometimes it's just the conversation, especially if it's going to be a new client. You don't know what they're bringing to the table.
Well, and you got to ease into small talk and kind of like figure out what sort of conversation of substance you can enter into.
Yes.
And that's a whole like search and rescue sort of a thing.
Now versus like if it was like one of my regulars that called in and I was not in that headspace, sometimes I can just be, some of my guys I can just be very transparent with, and they just keep the conversation to a minimum, not on purpose, but just they get it.
They feel the vibe. They're reading the room.
Yeah, exactly.
There's also the in an appointment only situation, like myself, and I put a cap on like when people can book an appointment. Like, sorry, if I've got an opening and it's an hour before that opening, nobody's gonna be able to book it online because I need to know things a certain amount of time in advance.
Yeah,
that's the type of person I am. I need to mentally prepare for things.
Yep.
If I could not be surprised, that'd be great. Yeah. Now, that's not to say that like when you've been out to lunch and somebody walked in and I happen to be able to take somebody because I ate my lunch in 15 minutes and I'm like, well, I would just be reading.
Yeah.
So I'll take somebody. I'm cool with that. But that's certainly not something I'm seeking out to do on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So if I have a gap in my day, chances are I'm already dedicated that time to doing a function, whether it's picking up laundry or, cleaning around the shop, putting stuff away. Like, I am engaged in something. I'm like, I've got time to do things. Cool. That's great.
Yep.
Because in a packed day, I don't have time to do any of those little things. And it's like, I am extra tired because I didn't get any of those little breaks.
Yep.
And little breaks is sometimes the difference between a burnout and not a burnout.
Yeah, I could see that. Because, like, those, just having, like, a little 15-minute gap here and there on, like, when I would have, like, packed days like that, that makes the world of difference. To be able to just either, like, step outside, really go to the, like, bathroom and just, like, relax for a minute, sit down somewhere. It makes a world of difference.
Well, because, I mean, when you are an employee in other professions, like, there are laws that protect the fact that you get those breaks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
When you're working for yourself, it's up to you what you do. However, that's in our context when we have, like, schedules that have people in them and we're like, cool, I get the chance to take a break. Not the, I have a bunch of openings in my day and I'm just sitting around while still turning away people.
Yeah.
That's a different animal.
Yes.
That, then yes, certainly begs the question, is this a job you want to do? Or you just want to hang out with your buddy?
Yeah.
And I feel like, what are you doing in your free time to make you have less free time? Why are you just sitting around? Even if there's nobody walking in, like, why are you just sitting around? Why aren't you going out and marketing yourself? Why aren't you introducing yourself, becoming a well-known face in the business area that you happen to be located? Like, network. I hate that word, but network. Get to know people. Make connections with individuals outside of your chair in order to get people inside your chair. That's the business you're in, is connecting with people. And unfortunately, I really do hate, and I know this is a valid perspective to have on the profession. There are plenty of people that cut hair that do it to cut hair.
Yes.
That's fair. That's valid. That if that's the position that you take to this profession, good on you. Do you. If you're happy, I'm happy. That is not the perspective that I have in this profession. My perspective is that I connect with people.
Yep.
I just have to be doing it while cutting their hair.
Yeah.
Like, the haircut becomes secondary once we've figured out what you want. It's really everything else that happens during that time that is what I enjoy doing.
Like, I 100% agree with you. I also, it's like I get to connect with people, and then haircutting's a bonus for me. It's like I also enjoy that. Like, I'm also good at that. Like, I have fun doing it. I like having complicated little things sometimes that make me work for the haircut almost. But I'm definitely very much in the connecting with people. Like, I get so much more fulfillment from the experience with my client and their family or whatever the case may be over cutting hair.
Well, I feel like if you recognize that as the foundation of the profession, then you will survive your first burnout. And your second, if you have a second, and so on. Like, burnouts are basically life going, hey, you need to learn something. You need to figure something out because this is not balanced.
Yeah.
So you need to figure out your balance. So that's what burnouts are a warning of, is like, you're off balance.
Yeah.
You need to change something.
Oh, that makes sense.
And so I think I had 2 or 3 burnouts. So like I had some things to learn when it came to balancing out my life and really figuring out what the point was. Like, well, what made me show up?
Yeah.
Because when I first opened a shop, I never wanted to be alone in the shop. I never wanted to be working by myself. I always wanted to have at least one other barber there with me. Yep. That way we could tag team on as far as like staggering lunches.
Yeah.
Like there was always somebody manning the area. But now I've completely flipped. I'm like, I love one-on-one with my client.
Yep.
That's it. Like, that's all I want in the world is just like me and my clients. It's great. I mean, obviously I love having you.
Yeah. It works out great.
But we have our own space.
Yes. Which I think really helps me because I was so nervous about being a solo barber in a solo shop because I like the back and forth off of each other. I like the socializing aspect of it. And so I was afraid that it was going to become, I don't know, I was nervous for the awkward, stagnant moments where the conversation lulls. You know what I mean? I was nervous that I wouldn't be able to like
keep it up on your own.
Yeah. I didn't know what I would be capable of.
You underestimate yourself.
And now, like, it works out really well because, like, the connections have shifted in different ways, and the kiddos get to open up more, and just everybody, it becomes everyone's space when they're in it. It's like becomes personalized to them every time they're in there, and it works out cool. Because then I still have the bonus of you right here.
Yeah.
Off to the side over here.
Well, it is noticeable even when, say, your next client comes in a little early. Like, it is a noticeable energy change when another person enters the room.
Yes.
And you're like, we can't talk the way that we were just talking.
Yep. I do appreciate, though, that when the next client that comes in is one of my more sociable guys and will then engage in the conversation with us. There's some that will just like tuck themselves to the side, sit on their phone and not really look up and engage with us and try to continue to let me and the client in the chair have our moments still. And then there's some that just accept the fact that they're in the space and then interject and engage in the conversation and stuff. And I don't care about either or, but I do like when there's more engagement and they decide to chat up with us.
Well, it's also helpful in it's like an informal introduction sort of a thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, we're all in this conversation now.
Yep.
And now you, like, if you see each other in public, you'd be like, oh, hey, we got the same barber.
Yeah, exactly. My extra favorite is when they do actually end up knowing each other.
Oh, yeah. I enjoy it when they're, like, related by marriage or something.
Yes. Your in-laws.
We'll circle back to when to turn a client away.
Yeah.
There was obviously the infamous text message man. The text messages that I have from 2015.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, text message man.
So, yeah, when do I turn somebody away? When I have not had a single break, but I have been cranking for like 4 or 5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
If I haven't peed, I haven't eaten, and I'm about ready to collapse, that's when I turn somebody away.
Yeah.
And this, of course, the era of walk-ins. You go, yeah. You go, oh, you're giving me an ultimatum. Either I cut your hair right now or you leave. Bye.
Bye. Yeah.
Because that's clear disrespect. Like, you don't give a crap about me as a human being.
Nope.
So I'm not going to care about your haircut. Because my health is more important than your haircut.
Yes.
So defending my own personal boundaries, yeah, I'll turn you away any day of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Bye. I've fired a couple clients, so that counts as turning them away.
Yep.
For not respecting my time repeatedly. You go, if you've gotten 2 no-shows and you've not paid my no-show fee, you don't get another appointment. I'm going to tell you over the phone that no, I'm not going to book you.
Yeah.
You can book with somebody else.
Yep.
Because you're not wasting my time a third time. Absolutely not. if you are actively nodding off mid-movement, that is obviously due to a substance issue.
Yeah.
I will ask you to leave my shop.
Yep.
You shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
There are other places that you could be.
Yep. Has that been a numerous occasion during your years of ownership?
No, for the most part, I think anything substance related, we've had some first thing in the morning people who are obviously still smelling of alcohol from the night before or that morning. Mm-hmm. But they tend to be at least more well behaved. Like they can function enough to receive a haircut.
Yeah.
And so like that's that kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. But if it's like so bad that you are legitimately like mid movement.
Yeah.
Dude, how I can't cut your hair because like not only are you nodding off, so you're gonna be doing that in the chair the whole time.
Yeah.
A lot of times those people will also get the sweats. Mm-hmm. And that's also an inconvenience.
Yes. Sweating is not conducive to haircutting.
No. And talc can only do so much.
Only, yeah. Mm-mm.
So, I mean, that entire situation is just like time and a place.
Yeah.
Oh, if somebody's like pre-COVID, I did have an older gentleman come in wearing a mask. And I asked, I was like, so why are you wearing a mask? Because that was weird back in the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he informed me that he had like a cold or flu or something. And I was like, sir, I have to refuse you service because you're sick.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Like, by law, I am required to refuse service to anybody who has something contagious.
Yes. I love that he came in wearing a mask.
I know he was trying to be.
Oh yeah.
Like,
absolutely. I
considerate,
get it.
but it's like.
But pre-COVID, that is just odd. That's not something you would have seen
outside of Asia. Like Asian countries have been doing that forever.
Fair. Yes.
But yeah, in the U.S. before COVID, what? Yeah. So that was very, very odd. But it's like true consideration for people would be not coming in while you're sick.
Just rescheduling. Like it's not that serious. You shouldn't just.
We're talking pre-COVID. This was the era of walk-ins.
Oh yeah, yeah, fair. Walk in a different day, sir.
Yeah, it was hey, as soon as you feel better, come back in. I'd be happy to give you a haircut. But like I can't. Ooh, there's one I remember turning away somebody because a mother came in with her child. Now, this was like. The shop was empty. It was like peak lunch hour. Most people were like off taking their lunch. And this mother comes in with her young son to get a haircut. And so he's like running around the shop. Now, there are several areas of the shop that were marked like employee only because there's stairs. There are things like chemicals and stuff.
Implements. And
all
suches.
sorts of things that are like.
It's a barbershop.
And he is just running around all over. She's not doing anything about it. He's opening doors. I'm just like, ma'am, you need to take your son and you need to leave.
Yeah.
Because you are not taking his safety seriously.
Yeah.
And you are not going to deal with my insurance when something happens to him because you're not minding your son.
Yeah.
So not only are you not getting a haircut today, you need to get out now.
Yeah.
Because that showed me, it was like, all right, this is him not in the barber chair.
Yeah.
That means you're going to be zero help with making him mind in the chair.
Correct. We did have a situation about, this was in barber school though, where we had to turn away this woman, I want to say he was like 2. And as soon as he came in, he was already terrified. Terrified of the atmosphere, just everything. He already didn't like it. And we attempted to like put him in the chair, all sorts of things. And he was just hysterical. He was not happy to be there. He's crying. And the mom is just like, well, he needs a haircut. And my teacher stepped over because now this is no longer just a student mother conversation. Like this is, the teacher will handle it. And so teacher comes over and she's like, I'm sorry, but like if he's not wanting to sit in the chair, like we're not going to make him. And the mom's like, well, can't I just sit there and like hold his arms down and hold him still so that way we can get the haircut? And my teacher's like, no, I'm sorry, but you need to go. Like if he can't get a haircut, we're not going to make the event more traumatic for him by forcing him through the haircut. And I'm sorry, but his hair wasn't even that long. Parents, just let him be shaggy if it's necessary. It's okay.
Or you cut it for a bit.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay. Like, your kid doesn't have to look picture perfect all the time.
No.
There are so many kids running around with at-home haircuts. It's fine.
It really...
It's a rite of passage to have the embarrassing haircut photo from school. Like, that's fine.
Honestly.
It's not the end of the world. Like, oh no, your Instagram reel is just gonna not be as cool. Well, that's the thing. Like, you know, life priorities, and some things are like, is this really that serious to you that you're gonna like cause your son to have nightmares? Now, don't get me wrong. At the beginning, like, of my career, it was definitely a different method of thought as far as like kids' haircuts go. Like, hey, as long as the kid's not doing anything unsafe, if they're just crying, sure, we can still get a haircut if the kids want to cry, because sometimes that just happens. As long as they're not doing anything unsafe.
Yeah.
It's when they're like flailing around and like having a straight up conniption that's like, this isn't safe for the kid, this isn't safe for the barber, this isn't safe for anybody. So yeah, I am not a fan of the, oh, strap them down and just force them.
Yeah.
It's not worth it for anybody. Now, the, you know, getting on the kid's level and like trying to build a rapport, that's how you build clientele. Like, if they need, you know, a more comfortable situation and you have the ability to, you know, rock a haircut while they're playing on Legos, cool.
Yeah.
Do what you gotta do. I have my own limitations when it comes to interacting with kids, so I have to work within those. That means I'm not gonna take just any kid in my chair.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to deal with that limitation. At least I take kids, because I mean there's so many places that don't take kids.
Not at all. Yeah.
Speaking of turning away customers,
Yeah.
like that can be a generational thing of like, you're just turning away an entire lifetime worth of haircuts possibly.
Yeah.
Like the potential.
Yeah.
And not just that, but like their kids maybe one day. Like this is a long-term investment. I've been cutting a kid's hair since he was 4. He didn't speak to me for the first year and a half. He was so irritated that he had to get a haircut. But
really,
good parenting, they made him mind. He knew that he had to do what he was told.
Yeah.
But he knew he didn't have to be happy about it.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Now, to this day, he's still a soft talker. Even though he's in his like middle school growing out hair phase, which is totally fine. He's got fantastic hair. When he does want a haircut, he still comes to me.
Yeah.
This is like 10 years later.
Goals. Seriously, those are my goals in this profession. That's one of the reasons I like kids, is because that's what I strive for.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be there for like getting to do prom haircuts, and like I want to be there for those monumental moments and stuff. Like that, it's part of the connection I like to have with my clients. Why I do all this. I couldn't imagine just not offering to cut kids' hair.
I couldn't imagine being a barber for more than 10 years when I first started. But that's because I could never picture myself doing anything, like, ever. And, you know, that whole, like, question when you're a kid, like, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah.
I could never answer that question. Ever.
Yeah.
I was like, how can you possibly imagine yourself doing something you've never done?
Yeah.
So, like, I was never somebody who was like, I want to be a fireman. I want to be a police officer. I want to be an astronaut. Yeah, that's not me. I'm like, I take things at face value, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know.
It's funny that I very quickly stopped picturing what I wanted to be when I grew up after the first one, because I wanted to be a veterinarian, and I'm pretty sure I said that wrong, but it's fine. And then I found out that they had to put down animals also. I learned the reality of the job, and I was like, nope. And then I was like, couldn't possibly know what I would be okay with then if like that's the case. I don't know the dirty details of any of these things.
Right. Well, and even like the jobs that you're exposed to from your parents and other family members, none of them ever appealed to me. Like, I do not have the same interests, or even like my brain just doesn't connect with things the same way as any member of my family that I could speak of.
Yeah.
So I was like, can I picture myself working for a grocery store from the age of 16 until I retire? No. Certainly I cannot. Could I picture myself working in food service? No, I vowed to never do that. Which I have kept. And so it's like, Could I picture myself working as a corrections officer? Nope. Like, nothing anybody in my family did. I was like, oh, that sounds good. That sounds like fun.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, it was just like, I don't know what I like. Until, like, what was it, freshman year of high school, they had us take, like, tests to figure out, like, what career paths your skill set, your interests may lead you to. Mine came up with marriage counselor.
Really? This is an interesting new piece of information.
So
I can't not see it.
I do have an interest. I'm a natural listener, and I have an interest in people. So given that information, even back then, fair.
Yes.
Fair assessment.
Yeah.
Why specifically a marriage counselor, I do not know.
Sure. Yeah.
But
counselor could have blanketed it.
I pulled back and I was like, but what's the just like general profession of this? So it was like psychology. And so I took psychology in high school and loved it. Hated sociology. I don't like putting people in boxes. I don't like being put in a box. Sociology is the study of large groups.
Ah, okay. Okay.
And so it's very general type of things.
Got you. Okay.
Cultures.
Okay. I real quick was like, literally they put people in boxes? I was like, that doesn't sound anything like to what I thought physiology
That's
was.
a mortician.
Yeah. I knew those were not anywhere near the same word.
So at least by that point, there were some indicators to be like, you might like something that deals with talking to people.
Yeah.
Even though, like, going straight into the military, I hated the concept of customer service. Hated it. But then I had injuries that put me in a position where I had to deal with the public. Like, before you got on post, deal with the public. Which I ended up acquiring customer service skills that I was like, I don't really mind that now. Like, I used to be super cynical, like, people suck.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, people in groups suck. People, as a plural, suck.
Yes.
Persons, individuals, are fantastic, fascinating creatures that I thoroughly enjoy.
I agree. Actually, yeah. I very much agree with that statement.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I believe that if you are bored talking to somebody, you are not listening well enough.
Yeah.
Because if you listen well, people will tell you everything.
All sorts of things.
And if you're listening, then it's like, that's like their experiences, their education, their struggles, their own ignorance. Like, so many things you can learn without having to go through it all. Like, how sweet is that? It's like getting a little cheat sheet, Cliff's Notes.
Yeah. I love getting to learn about people's just life experiences and different things, and I'm getting more and more comfortable asking dumb questions.
No such thing.
You know what I mean? But just like, I'm okay with not understanding what you're saying to me and wanting to decipher more of what you're saying to fully understand what we're talking about here. Whether it's simple as like a man talking to me about like a car mechanic's job, like something that he's doing because I get curious, or if it's something with hardscaping. Like, it doesn't even have to be this big grand concept, but I'm not afraid to ask like silly questions to just learn more.
Oh, side note on that. I want you to know, I did not know what RSVP stood for.
You looked it up, didn't you?
No.
Oh.
I took your word for it.
Oh. Oh, okay. I didn't. Oh, okay. I see now. I thought you looked at it because it's wild. No. I can't pronounce it. Yeah.
No, but I wanted you to know that no, I did not know.
That is wild. For those of you that don't know, I'm not very familiar with Bree not already knowing things before me.
The expectation of my knowledge has been set very high.
No, she said it there. She's just a cornucopia of knowledge.
Well, you have to be eventually when you cut hair for 12 years.
That's why I ask more questions.
And read. The combination of the two is just a powerhouse.
Yeah, but the reading I do is not very knowledgeable.
I disagree. It's, you learn in different ways.
Fair.
Well, you might not be reading like a nonfiction, like self-improvement style book, but you're reading books that are are getting you more familiar with vocabulary. Like you're coming up with things that you have to look up because you don't know what they are, which is educating yourself.
Fair.
I learned what a cul-de-sac was by watching Ed, and Eddie. Come on.
That show. That's also how I learned what a cul-de-sac was, actually.
I learned what the plural of cul-de-sac was from Gilmore Girls. Do you want to know what it is?
What?
Cul-de-sac.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, the plural goes into the beginning, the first word?
Yeah. Well, the first section of the word. Yeah.
Because isn't it dashed?
I don't know.
Oh.
I will never spell that. Voice to text.
Cul-de-sac.
Yep.
Wild.
See, you can learn from anything as long as you're listening.
Yep. As long as you're listening.
All right, now circling back around.
Yep. Round we go.
What other instances do you think might come up when it comes to turning away a client? I will say, going along with the, like, required by law reasons.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. If there's lice. If there's lice, unfortunately, you've got to go. If you're sick, if you're, like, coughing up a lung, get out of my chair. Like, don't do
If
that.
you've identified something that you cannot diagnose, but you think may be something contagious, ringworm, all that kind of stuff.
Yep. Anything like that,
Scabies.
for sure. Also, turning down a client on a day off.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Definitely.
Which we've touched on. I know I've touched on previously when we were talking about like boundaries and stuff like that, but same goes. Like I will, at least once a month, I will get a message on Facebook from a client whose hair I've cut before, usually on a Sunday, asking for a haircut on a Monday. 8 times out of 10. And it would be so easy for, if I'm around, to do that. Don't do that. Don't do it.
I will only do that for frustomers.
Yes.
And that's making it explicitly clear to them that this is a personal favor. That
Same
will not
with-
become a pattern.
Yes. Same with, like, of course, emergency scenarios, last minute kinds of sorts of things.
Funerals, like
Yes.
things that are like happen and life is just
Yes.
Yeah.
Life is life.
Yep.
Then absolutely. In fact, though, that's usually a guarantee of taking a customer. Is like if life is lifing, or like you got a bad haircut somewhere, come on.
I am amazed.
I'll squeeze you in. I'll put you somewhere. I'll whatever. You don't have to do that. to
I'm amazed at how many customers get a terrible haircut and don't ask. I'm like, please ask, because I don't want you walking around town like that.
Yes. It's always, after my last cut, I went to this other place, and now I've had to wait a month and a half for this haircut because it was terrible. Then why didn't you come see earlier? We could have tried.
Well, and because I mean, it's always the story of, I really needed a haircut, but like I couldn't get in with you,
Yep.
so I had to go to this other place.
Yep.
It's like, what would have been a worse outcome? You being a little more shaggy till you could get in with me, or you getting jacked up and then having to pay again to get it fixed? Like, sometimes that needs to be measured, but other times it's like, hey, you're in a pinch. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yep.
I'm not gonna judge you. Like, I'm happy to see you no matter what.
Yeah. I find it so funny when the clients almost like comes across guilty, like they're making a confession.
Oh, they got the whole tail
When
between
they-
their legs. I cheated on you. I am
Yes,
so
like
sorry.
When they have to confess that they went somewhere else, and I'm like, you see where you are now? That's all that matters. Like as long as you keep coming back here, it's fine. I won't take it personally. Don't worry. Like especially with I was out of town for work. I needed to get a quick haircut between meetings. Blah blah blah. Well, don't worry. I'll fix your Cadillac for you.
It's like, well, you're home now. Welcome back.
Yep. I appreciate that I've come across 2 gentlemen now that they're snowbirds, and so they do the travel back and forth thing, and I'm assuming, this is just my assumption, that after getting their hair messed up so many times from doing the back and forth and always having to start over, that these 2 gentlemen show up with Cliff Notes from a previous stylist / barber of what they do, so that way it's just instructions on what to do on the sides, the top, good to go. And they keep it in their wallet so that way whether they're coming here or going south, they can give the prospecting person that instruction list. They know exactly what haircut to give them.
I had a customer that got jacked up with his flat top in Florida so bad that
gosh.
by the time he made it back to me, it grew out to the point where he decided to change his haircut.
Oh my gosh.
To not be a flat top anymore because he didn't want to get jacked up again.
I mean, I can't say that I'm surprised. I don't feel like Florida would be notorious for a flat top.
It's unfortunate though because you see tons of places who can do fantastically difficult haircuts. A flat top, though it takes practice, is not a difficult haircut. It just takes practice.
I feel like they would have a better handle on ethnic flat tops, like more ethnic hairstyle flat tops.
I can see that.
Which, it's different.
Yes. And no.
Correct.
It does depend on the hair.
Yes.
Now, like if you had somebody with like a mean cowlick in the front and you gotta like stick that sucker up, yeah, all right, that can be a bit of an issue. But generally speaking, you're shaping it like a shrub.
Yeah. That's how I feel. So like I don't have an official flat top, but he's kind of flat topish. We're close. We're basically there. His hair just sticks up on its own, so I don't have to do that. But it's basically a flat top. But I feel like Edward Scissorhands when I do it.
Topiaries.
Yes. That's also how I feel with big beards too, though.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I just channel my inner Edward.
So imagine how many people turn away haircuts not because they don't want to take a customer, but because they know they can't do the haircut.
Ooh, so technically, we won't say turned away. I've technically made accommodations for both a couple walk-ins and one person scheduled with me that did turn out to be flat tops. And because of their demeanor and assumed protection of said flat top, I made accommodations for them to end up in your chair.
Yes.
So that way they were not insulted, I were not insulted, nobody's feelings got hurt, they got the haircut that they wanted. In fact, one of the times it actually worked out perfectly that Bree, I believe, had a child in her chair.
Yes.
And I have a tendency to be the child whisperer. So we just did an even swap. And she got a flat top and I got the child. And it worked out great.
Yep. Well,
but yeah, I feel a lot more comfortable and confident in my skill set now that even if I was to get a flat top, I'd obviously have that conversation of, hey, not super well versed in this, but I feel comfortable enough. And now having watched and learned a little bit more about how techniques to do them better, I feel like I would be more open to accepting things. I don't feel like I'd turn someone away for a haircut style at this point because I feel confident enough that I can figure it out. Like if I've not done it yet, even if it's like a longer style haircut, I feel like I can figure it out.
Well, and like, would you feel comfortable enough that in the middle of doing a flat top that you would ask me for help if you needed it?
Yep, exactly.
Right, cool, because like that's always a thing.
Yeah.
And that takes a certain amount of humility, but it's like, especially if you're in a shop and you have people who know more than you, like,
yeah,
that humility is going to be like, your customer will be grateful that you're willing to be honest and seek for more guidance.
Yep.
Because that means they know that you have their haircut in mind. Like, you want to make sure that it's the best product, especially if you are struggling to get to that level.
Yeah, it's funny. A previous barber that we worked with actually made a comment to me one time that he likes to be the least, and which, mind you, he's got at least a double my years in experience. I think he's got like 8 years experience. I could be wrong, but he said that he likes to be the least experienced, one of the least experienced people in the shop, because then he'll never be able to stop learning off of the more experienced people and getting help and whatever the case may be. And when he said that to me, I was like, oh, that's a really cool way to look at it, instead of looking at it in the, oh crap, like, I'm not as good as these people, or whatever the case may be, like undercutting yourself, which is kind of what I always go to. Surprise, surprise. But getting that little spin on it was cool.
Well, yeah, you never want to be the smartest person in the room. Mm-hmm. I would rather somebody turn away a client honestly.
Yes.
Due to a hairstyle that they are not confident in, than lie to their face and tell them, oh yeah, I can rock a flat top, not a problem.
Yeah.
And then you jack them up.
Yes.
Like, I would rather you be honest with that customer than cause them that grief.
Correct. I don't think I'd be able to get through the haircut if I was trying to like pull some wild like mystery card like that. I don't think I'd be able to like I feel like I'd be an anxious mess the whole time.
Like, fake it till you make it only works in certain instances. Yes. When you have to execute something, they're going, can you do this? Especially if they ask you 3 times because they've dealt with this before.
Yes.
And you're telling them, oh yeah, I'm great.
Totally fine.
And they're like,
it's gonna be great.
Okay. And now you've just like caused them to not trust professionals even more in the future.
Yep.
So, because when you're a professional and you're in that situation, you are representing all other professionals.
Yes.
Like, sorry, we're in a box. We're all the same to people. Mm-hmm. But that's the reality. It's like, you just made our profession that much less reputable by lying. Mm-hmm. And that's not cool.
Nope.
For anybody.
Nope. No, because again, it comes down to I kind of feel like it comes down if you're just trying to cut hair or make those connections. Because, like, if you care, you won't put them in your chair.
Yep.
But if you're just trying to make $1, you're absolutely just going to fudge your way through whatever to make that buck.
Yep.
And that's the thing. I don't know how often... I've never had it happen. I don't know if you've ever had it happen. But people, to my knowledge, don't often say they're not going to pay for their haircut.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, most people, even if it's like a bad haircut and they like leave a little unsatisfied, they usually still pay for their haircut and then just complain about having to have paid for that afterwards. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So like, you're taking their money regardless of their happiness, and now they're just mad about it.
Well, and more often than not, if a free haircut or if a haircut is not paid for, it's usually on my end as the barber, recognizing that I could not achieve the level of quality that I wanted to achieve, most especially early on in my career. It's like, I am not happy with this product. You might be, but I am not.
Yeah.
I know I'm capable of more, but I struggled with this one.
Yeah.
So I'm always willing to give a free haircut if that's the case.
Yes.
The other one is like just communication. If an occurrence happens during the haircut service, like, those learning curves of cutting people's ears or, things like that.
Yep.
Free haircuts. Yeah, of course. Hey.
Yep. Absolutely. I handed out a couple at the beginning, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I wasn't well versed in my consultation side of things, and a man told me he wanted my clipper on its longest setting. So I thought he meant that was just my clipper open. And I was like, that doesn't sound right. It just doesn't sound right. And so I did like a 3, I think. Because I was too scared to cut that much off his hair. And I was like, I'll just work my way down. Homie definitely wanted like a 6, for sure.
I don't even know what a 6 is.
For sure. It's exactly. A 5 and a 6 are 2 things that should just never be used on a clipper.
Yeah, the concept of a 6 sounds like shears should be used.
Correct. That's exactly what they teach us in school. But one of the other barbers in the shop, as soon as the man left, was like, what did he ask you for? And I was like, I reiterated, and he was like, yeah, he definitely wanted you to use like a 6 on him. I'm like, I don't even have one of those. So like, I don't know what to tell you there. He should have just told me to do a scissor cut on him.
Well, and that's when somebody gives me...
He got a free haircut.
Yeah.
He did not pay for that.
When somebody gives me a number or an indication based on a tool, I immediately ask follow-up questions. It's what do you want your hair to do? Do you want to be able to redirect it? Style it when you put stuff in it? Like, those things are like, all right, so not a clipper length.
Yeah. Yeah. I always, as soon as anyone tells me, unless they come in with a very short top already, like if they're already only at finger length, then absolutely, you tell me a number, I'll slap that guard on there and I'll do the top of your head. But if you have longer hair and you tell me you want a clipper on the top of your head, I'm asking a ton of questions. Because I'm not doing that. And honestly, depending on how short they then tell me they want it, I'll still end up doing half of it finger over comb. Sheer whatever.
You're not cutting with finger over comb.
I might be. It's my fake finger combs.
You mean shears?
Yep, those.
For context, audience, please understand that I have been up since 3 a.m. and it is currently 8:30 at night.
Yes.
And it's been a long day at work, so we're a little on the goofy side.
Hump day.
All right, let's wrap it up with anything else that we can think of for like reasons to turn people away other than like being lazy.
Other than being lazy.
I will say though, like anybody who is doing that, there's been a huge surge in this profession over the last 5 years, especially, or maybe right before COVID. That I see a lot of people leaving the profession in the near future. Like, I don't see a lot of people who have nonchalantly entered the profession because it's been made way easier, sticking around once they hit their first burnout. Like, I could definitely see it being like, if this is your first profession, it's going to lead you into other things.
Yeah.
And you're going to leave hair.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's fair. It's a really great building block to fund further education and further career development. Be like, you could fund your way through college. I know people who have done it just by cutting hair.
Yeah.
And end up debt-free. It's great. So it can be a phenomenal stepping stone. And I hope that is the case for anybody who does eventually leave the profession. But there's also people I know who have entered the profession and gone back to the previous profession that they were in before they went to barber school. And that's your life, your journey. Like, I get that. But with the huge surge of people that have entered it, I don't see people, that same number sticking around long term.
Yeah, I feel like that's true.
Because, I mean, once you get to the certain number situation to have peer pressure and like my buddies all did this, or like, I'm going to barber school because my buddy who is a barber was like, yeah, you're not doing anything else, or you're tired of working for a factory or whatever.
Yep.
It's like, it's way better than that. And I mean, that can be the case. And some people can fall into it like serendipity, and that is, in fact, their calling in life. I mean, I certainly didn't have a whole lot of planning before coming into this profession. It just kind of happened. And it worked out. It's great. But that has far more of an influence once you get numbers up to a certain point. Then it becomes like you can go to barber school and you can come work here and like we could all be buddies, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily the reality of a working environment.
No, I feel like in a way, not comparing the two because we deal with two completely different types of demons, but I feel like in a way, teachers and barbers are similar in a sense of like, I feel like those that are able to get longevity out of it and like have a passion in it are those that are like in it and want to be, and not just there for the sake of or the convenience, or there has to be a drive or a passion behind it to be good at it, to be one that people click with and remember and want to be a part of.
Definitely. Because otherwise it's like, people could tell you when you're going through the motions.
Yeah.
And you're not that deep and you're not connecting. And it's just like, you're just shooting the breeze. You could be talking to a wall and it's no different.
Yep.
Like, that's how much you're giving me.
Yep. Just running on autopilot.
But then at the same time, there are people who have never experienced the connection of a barber that loves their profession.
Oh, fair.
Like, there are people in the world who have never gone to a shop that had that. They've always gone to, a conveyor belt, like corporate chains, or, their hometown barber is just like an old timer, he's just been cutting my hair since I was born, but like, there's never really a connection.
Yeah.
It's just sit down and you get what I give you. It's like, oh, that's kind of unfortunate. So when they finally do, it's like finding good food for the first time. You thought you hated pork chops because your mom sucked at making them. And then suddenly you have a good one. You're like, I don't hate pork chops. I just hate her pork chops. Like Brussels sprouts. You go, there is quality in the world, but you don't know it until you're exposed to it.
Yeah. I can't relate to the Brussels sprout part, but you definitely had me at the pork chop part.
All right. Any parting words for our topic of discussion this week?
Have boundaries with your clients and feel free to say no when necessary.
And for better or for worse, don't take other people's opinions to heart whom you've never met.
Yeah.
And who are making generalizations.
Yep.
Because maybe that's not you. And that's okay. Or maybe it is you, and that's still okay, because you'll figure it out, or you won't.
Yep.
And that's life.
Wish you the best.
All right, everybody, we will talk to y'all next week. Have a good night.
Have a good night.